When the Byzantine Emperor gazed out over the marble halls of Constantinople, he saw intrigue, betrayal, and enemies lurking on every side. In a world where a knife could flash from the shadows and poison could slip into a goblet, trust was rare, power even rarer. The emperor needed guardians who would never flinch, never falter, and never yield to the whispers of court politics. So he called upon the most feared warriors in all Europe, men whose names sent shivers through the forests of the north, whose axes split shields and skulls with equal ease. These were the Varangians, Vikings who had journeyed 1,500 miles from the icy fjords of Scandinavia to the glittering heart of Byzantium. From the year 988, the Varangian Guard became the emperor's shield and sword. These warriors were not born in the empire. They were outsiders, men forged in the fire of northern warbands who sailed down the great Russian rivers, the Dnieper and Volga, their dragon-proud ships gliding through ancient forests and hostile tribes. They came for silver, for honor, for legend. Through trade routes and relentless ambition, Scandinavians found their way to Constantinople, the queen of cities, where east met west in a swirling tapestry of power and intrigue. The Varangians swore a sacred oath, not to Byzantium, not to its generals, but directly to the emperor himself. This was no ordinary pledge. They promised unwavering loyalty to the man on the throne, even if the city itself burned or the empire crumbled. And the emperor rewarded this devotion with gold, privileges, and the right to loot fallen enemies in battle, a practice so notorious it became known as palace-plundering. While regular Byzantine soldiers toiled for a pittance, the Varangians grew rich on the spoils of war, their axes stained with the blood of those who dared threaten their sovereign. Among their ranks strode giants, the likes of Harald Hardrada, who would one day become King of Norway. Harald's saga was written in fire and steel, his youth spent carving a name for himself in the Varangian Guard before returning to the north to claim his throne. These men were legends in their own time, their deeds whispered in the smoky halls of Scandinavia and the torchlit chambers of Constantinople alike. On the battlefield, the Varangians were relentless. Clad in heavy mail, their shields painted with runes, they wielded massive two-handed axes that could cleave through armor, bone, and horse alike. When enemies saw the red cloaks and towering forms of the Varangian Guard, they knew terror. While others fled, these warriors stood their ground, forming a living wall around the emperor, even as arrows darkened the sky and spears shattered against their shields. Their reputation was more than mere myth. They fought with the fury of men who had survived the battles of the north, the raids of the Rus, and the endless wars of the Byzantine frontier. Their loyalty was matched only by their ferocity. In times of peace they drank deep, their feasts echoing with laughter and tales of home. But in times of crisis, the Varangian Guard became the emperor's last hope, a brotherhood of killers who would shed blood rather than betray their oath. After the Norman Conquest of England in 1066, defeated Anglo-Saxon warriors joined their ranks, bringing with them tales of lost kingdoms and vengeance. The Guard became a melting pot of northern blood, united by steel, coin, and an unbreakable promise. For centuries, the Varangians stood watch over the emperors of Byzantium. But as the empire waned, their fate grew uncertain. The last echoes of their battle cries are heard in the chaos of 1453, when Constantinople fell to the Ottoman Turks. Did the final Varangians die defending the emperor, axes in hand, or did they vanish into legend, their loyalty remembered only in the sagas of the north? The blood-soaked legacy of the Varangian Guard endures, a story of outsiders who became the most trusted protectors of an ancient empire. And as history's shadows lengthen, one question remains. When kingdoms crumble and empires fall, who will stand unbroken at the gates?